This morning, Euclid officers responded to this location to assist the Marshal Service. We have an officer who's assigned full-time, a detective, sorry, who's assigned full-time to the Marshal's Task Force. So we're very involved in this. We believe deeply in this. It's a way to address violent crime and take violent offenders off our streets. The particulars, I'm going to refer to the U.S. Marshal Service, and they can give some additional information.
First, I want to start out by saying thank you for everybody for your patience waiting here. We want to get you the information as soon as we can, but we want to make sure that information is accurate. I also want to thank the citizens of these apartment complexes behind us, because as chaotic as the day was, it's an inconvenience for them. But I had an overwhelming response from our team, from those citizens, thanking our folks for the work they're doing in order to protect the men and women that reside here. And we're going to talk a little bit about what we were doing, who we were here searching for, and what happened. First thing first, like the chief mentioned, a team of the United States Marshal Service Violent Fugitive Task Force that consists of partners on the federal, state, and local city side was working together on a joint operation in which we were searching for a fugitive that was wanted for multiple counts of rape of a child. He had a violent criminal history, and our team on a daily basis searches for violent fugitives in this capacity. When our team made contact with the address where we believe the fugitive was at, the fugitive escaped out a back balcony on a high-rise and dropped down to the apartment below on one of the top floors. So he was escaping, and he dropped down to that balcony, in which he then made entry into that apartment. He broke in, and the people that reside there were in fear. They were screaming, they were yelling, "What is happening at 7 in the morning? Why is this person inside of our apartment?" Our officers responded. They went directly to where they heard the screams, and at that point he vacated the apartment, and he was loose within the apartment complex. So we had a full-scale search of the apartment complex. At some point, our officers caught up with him, and they engaged him. One of our officers, in fear of their life, fired a single gunshot, and that shot struck the fugitive. Emergency medical treatment was rendered, and he was transported to a local hospital where he's expected to survive. Through our partnership with Ohio BCI and an independent third-party investigation like we have with all of our officer-involved shootings will be conducted by Ohio BCI. They did not have anybody involved in this operation, but we do have an agreement with them that they will take this investigation to get all of the facts. The reason why I put that out there to you is so you understand there are a lot of unanswered questions. We unfortunately cannot answer questions. I'm going to try to give you as much information as I can, but since it is a complex investigation, Ohio BCI deserves the best unfiltered content information that they're going to be digging into so that they can do their job. And we expect them to get us that information so we can share it in turn with our partners, with the citizens. But I do want to emphasize again that there was a great risk to the safety of the citizens. We had a violent fugitive on the run, broke into another apartment. Those folks were in fear for what could be happening, and other folks in this apartment complex. Very chaotic scene. We never want to have to use such deadly force. Our officers never want to have to make that decision, but they have to make split-second decisions, and we have to understand that they have a very difficult job. I do want to commend our partners. We don't have everybody here that is partners, but I want to commend Euclid Police Department. As always, they're going to be the utmost professionals that they are when responding and supporting investigations like this. The Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Office, utmost professionals. How could they support an investigation with transparency, and how can we get information while supporting a violent fugitive investigation and keeping the folks in these buildings safe? I also want to thank our partners at the Cleveland Division of Police who also responded and also provided support for this investigation, and our partners at Ohio BCI, who they have so much to deal with in incidents happening across the state of Ohio. They prioritize this, and we're here to to investigate. At that point, gentlemen, am I missing anything else?
Were any deputies or officers injured?
I beg your pardon, Peggy?
I said, were any deputies or officers injured?
Good question. We can answer that. We assess all of our officers that are involved in a shooting, and there was no injuries that were reported at that assessment. But there are things like hearing loss when exposed to loud noise and things like that. So we want to make sure follow-up is conducted with them after the fact. Any general questions I think we could take, but like I said, we can't give too much context. That is a complex investigation. I respect the investigation, and we've been asked to limit some of those details just until we get the facts straight.
Exactly what time did you guys come here to make the arrest?
The time was just after 7 a.m., approximately 7:15 in the morning.
And were there any evacuations while he broke into the house and he was loose at that time when it came to the neighboring apartments?
So when we're handling trauma of that nature, yes, there was a lot of residents that were panicking, and at that point we were trying to keep them as safe as possible and let us know if you encountered him. Let us know, and they did. They absolutely did. The cooperation from the residents was incredible. It was outstanding. We had one resident that is confined into a wheelchair that was letting us know information that helped lead to his whereabouts.
Were they locked in though, or would they have to stay inside, or were they evacuated from their apartment at
So
all?
what you're getting at is shelter in place,
Yeah,
which is a very normal process. As formal as that process is, we have to deal with information as it comes in, and our officers were directing them in the same place as possible, and that often is a shelter in place. Very good question. Anything else?
And I know it's probably too early in the investigation, but and you may not be able to say this, but do you know if the suspect had a gun or a weapon, or is it too early?
That information is being dealt with BCI. They're doing a full-scale search, right? And the search of the crime scene is going to be their responsibility. Our folks maintain it to make sure it is safe. Okay, I appreciate everybody. Anything else from the sheriff's office? Break it. Yes.
So you were was it the suspect was on the top floor, or are you able to say what floor he was?
We're not able to say exactly what floor it is right now because out of the privacy for those involved, there are victims because another crime was committed while he was fleeing, and I don't want to identify them in the event that those victims are identified. But
It was an upper.
It was a
an
higher
upper
tier floor.
and then he jumped to the floor immediately below.
That's correct. He jumped to the floor immediately below and gained entry, forced entry into that apartment, and that's where we have other victims of crimes that were created as a
And
result of his actions.
Are they okay? Are the other victims okay physically?
Other than being exposed to extreme trauma, our teams and our teams behind us are working with them, and we want to make sure we ensure their safety.
Can you say if it's on this side of the building or the other side?
That I can't say as well, other than that it is a higher tier floor.
Okay.
And one last thing I do want to add is that we do have more information that our public information officers are putting together, and they are going to distribute this. So it will be able to answer maybe some of those pending questions. But I do have to cut it. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your time. I know it's hot, and I know they made you move. But this is private property, and we do have to respect that and the inconvenience that it is. But thank you for helping us get the word out there as quickly as possible. I appreciate
The
it.
name of the suspect, that might be in the release.
We may release that later,
Okay.
Peggy.
And also the extent of injuries for him, do we know that? Or?
We're planning on putting that information out there. Very good questions.
Thank you so much.
all.